There I am. All right. Got people coming in. Welcome, everyone. People coming in. Yes. Conrad, how are you, man?
Hey, John, how are you?
Good. Great to connect here, huh?
Yeah, it's awesome. Instead of in person, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I think we've probably been in same rooms, and then just,
Oh, yeah.
you know, we're in big rooms, and so we, you know, don't get to connect. I was at a event in LA last year, and I don't know that Rob and I even chatted, but then Justin and I went to dinner at a steakhouse, and there's Rob and his wife, and so I got to hang out with Rob after the event.
Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, glad to have you. It's awesome. This is fantastic what you're doing today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a privilege, man. Anytime that I get to contribute and get in front of folks, I love it. It'll be a good time.
Well, you've got a passion for it, and you're amazing. So,
oh, well, that's
amazing what you do. Well, you know, I was gonna try to get in touch with you because I'm bringing. I have the contract on my desk. I was bringing Ryan Serhant in.
Oh wow!
And, yeah,
oh.
And what I wanted to do, because I did it with Josh Altman last year, and I did these one-on-ones with Rob and a couple of other players in the area. And this time, I wanted to do one-on-ones with people like yourself as part of it. Instead of a panel, but I wanted to like ask questions of like people like yourself, like coaches and speakers like yourself, and give some insight. So anyway, but now we were doing it for September, so we had to cancel. And he graciously.
I was, you know, I had Western Canada broker owners, and then Western Canada parlayed me over with the changing to Quebec City for you guys.
Yeah,
I think it was October-ish, and then that got moved and said, hey, can we just keep that rolling? I said, yeah, sure. So yeah, we'll have to connect after and
yeah, I love that. That'd be great.
We can do it. I'd love to.
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. Very cool, man.
So John, how many people signed up?
695.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
So that's pretty good first one, eh?
Rob, you did well. Boy, you and your team did really, really good. Yes. Yes, indeed. Just, you know, it just puts a little pressure on me over here, but you know, I do this thing for pressure.
John loves pressure. Conrad, you got the city of Hamilton behind you. Is that?
No, Burlington. I got Burlington. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Burlington. Sorry.
Yeah.
How many offices did you guys have, Conrad?
10 offices. 10.
Wow.
Big operation. Great leader.
Well, thank you. But we got.
I know. I see that. I mean, we haven't met, but just through what I love about you is the theme that I was taught by my mentors is contribution. You know, and I see that you go out to Europe, and if you've contributed at events out there, I think.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and then I love your little market updates that you're doing, those videos.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Well, you know, it's so interesting because we talk to people about it. Like, you're a busy man. You've got a bunch of agents, and you've got a bunch of people on social media, and we're all busy folks. But it's interesting, the little things, like I'll point out to my clients and I'll say, well, it's not that big of a deal. And they'll say, hey, that was pretty cool. That Cinco de Mayo thing you did, you saw that? I go, it stands out. I mean, and I don't have time to be looking at everyone's stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
None of us do.
So you're right.
Yeah. Educate and inform. So what I'm going to do then is I've got we squeezed this one in, Conrad. So I'll leave as gracefully as I can. So we've got 30 minutes. I'll rotate Rob over to host, and
I'll thank you for your being there for us, and then and I'll introduce Conrad, and then Conrad will get into the stats and everything, and
perfect.
You know, what people are looking for, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just because I have to do this, you know, I start at, Tuesdays I start at 2:50 a.m. is my first call. You think that person's committed? Anyways, that's my Tuesday coaching call.
Wow.
but yeah, but I go from region to region. You guys are still pretty restricted, right? I mean, it is certainly you're essential, but most of your markets, restaurants aren't open, just takeout. Right. And
yep.
Okay, all right, good.
Where are you? Where are you, John?
I'm in Las Vegas, and I'm moving to Utah tonight at 4 p.m.
Oh my God! Wow, good for you. Wow.
Well, temporarily, I can only do so many workouts, Conrad, in that doggone courtyard of mine. Utah is wide open. The gyms are open. Restaurants. So I'm out, and you don't even want the VRBO Snowbird right below Snowbird there in Utah.
Yes.
VRBOs are going at 70% off right now.
Oh, really? Where were you at that secret location? Were you in Utah? That you were at a secret location.
So yeah, you're right. Write this down, Conrad. It's next time you're in Vegas, you just have to. Yeah. Have you ever done Zion before?
No.
Oh my gosh. So write down ZMR.com. ZMR.com. Zion Mountain Ranch.
Okay.
It is located in between two of the most epic parks in the world. Zion. So look up Zion and look at the pictures there. We took all of our mastermind group there a year ago afterwards, about 50 of us. And then on the other side of it is Bryce Canyon, which is epic. So you're on this Buffalo Preserve, the cabin. You're on the east side of Zion Park and the west side of Bryce. Amazing. Oh, wow. But I'm going to Salt Lake City.
Is that a dude ranch? Is that a dude ranch, John?
No.
What kind of, is that like a ranch or what is that?
It's a ranch with a bunch of cabins. You just rent the cabins. Yeah.
Can you go horseback riding and stuff? Horseback riding,
sure. Yeah.
Wow.
I have a cousin. That does Aboriginal. She's a lawyer. Does Aboriginal in Utah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and her husband is a nuclear physicist. Believe it or not. Yeah. Wow. And they're in Utah. Yeah. So got to get out there. One. Yeah.
Well, Conrad, I mean, when it all opens back up again, Zion is 3 hours and change, and it's unbelievable. We'll get our numbers exchanged.
Okay, great. That'd be fantastic. Awesome. Great.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Rob, so you guys want to get her ripping here, or you want to wait for support?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Is everybody on board now?
Yeah, here they come. People are coming in. Yep.
Wait a couple of minutes.
Sure. I'll just speed up to make sure. Listen, I took an hour and it's going in 28 minutes now.
Okay. All right. They still coming in, John?
286. Yeah. It's 287. Yep. 91, 92. Yeah, they're still coming in. It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, that is and you know, because you can only hike Red Rock, Conrad, like so many times in Vegas, and you can only
I've hiked Red Rock. That's nice out there.
Right. And so I'm an outdoor guy. That's why I'm American-Canadian. I mean, the best thing that ever happened was coaching Justin 3 years ago, because I started working with him because I got exposed to the Canadian Rockies, man. I'm always up there.
Okay.
302, 303. Yeah, there they come.
When you tell me
from Israel. Wow. Lori Van Dinther. Cool. Phil.
There's the man.
What's going on, everyone?
Good to see you, bud.
How's it going? Good to see you guys. Yeah, Conrad, where are you?
Burlington. Because I just did a David Greenspan podcast about an hour ago.
Excellent. How'd that go? Your muscles are all warmed up, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, John, he'd love to connect with you at one point. I don't know if you know David at all. He says, David Greenspan, you'd like him. He's kind of your no-nonsense style. It's called Mindshare. It's really, and he's not afraid to tell it like it is and make people feel pain. Like I know you like to do.
What are you saying about me, Conrad? We aren't friends yet, man.
Have you guys met before?
No.
Oh, right, crazy.
I've seen them, but absolutely.
Yeah. 327, 328, 330, 32, 33. Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll start right at 5 after.
Okay, cool. Real estate time.
Another couple minutes. Another couple
People are
minutes.
slipping in.
Get everybody a chance to get in there.
Yep, you
That's
bet.
it. So you're in Vegas. You're going to Utah tonight. That's what you said.
I am. Yep, I'm going there for a month. Most likely, I will. I may stay through August.
Is that where your daughter is, or?
She's here, but she is 100 quarantine. I can't walk in the house. I do a sidewalk visits, her and the baby at the door because of her heart condition. So it's just 100 walled off, but she's in a good home with her home she owns and her roommate. And Vegas, they just, what did they do? 63,000 people were notified Friday night that their furlough is going to be over in August if this doesn't change. So yeah, Vegas is having an interesting moment.
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I think it's time to get started.
Good.
Okay. Hey everyone, thanks for signing in. I've got John Cheplak here. He is a coach for elite teams. This guy's experienced recessions from 2008 and 9 when they had the crash there with the real estate crash. They experienced more devastation in the market than we ever did here. So anyway, John Cheplak, my mentor, my coach. Guys, go ahead, John, buddy.
Awesome. Let's let her rip.
You can help us out with.
Perfect. So let's check in and make sure that everyone can see my, why not start with a meme? Can everyone see it? You guys all good? Yeah. Okay, awesome. First thing I want to do is I'm not choreographed by Conrad, Phil, or Rob.
Yep.
But I want to point something out to you. Is number one, I'm not selling you anything. They're not recruiting anyone. But I want you to watch the messaging I'm going to share with you. They're demonstrating it right now. See, everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold. It's very obvious that if you're watching this, you may be a team leader. If you're a team leader, you attract agents to your team. If you're a broker owner manager on this, you recruit agents. If you're a real estate agent, you want to attract buyers and sellers, okay? Obviously, Conrad does that with his organization. Rob and Phil do it with theirs. Well, it's contribution that wins, you guys. Everything is about contribution. See, everyone wants to buy, no one wants to be sold. See, people don't believe what they're told, they believe what they experience. See, we've been taught backwards. That's just my opinion, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you. See, this is the scripts and dialogues that we're taught. This is the typical real estate agent. I'm going to share with you statistical data, okay, that can teach you the new way, the right way, but it's always been. See, everything's changed, but everything's really the same. See, I want you to take a look at all your Facebook posts, your emails, your text messages, your videos, everything you put out there. And remember this human principle. There's 3 favorite subjects to a human being: me, myself, and I. Now, that doesn't mean you. That means the consumer that you're communicating to. Now take a look at your marketing and message. See, remember this, write these principles down. You're not going to get scripts and dialogues from me, but what you're going to get from me, are things that are called principle. They endure, they withstood the test of time. I don't know that I'm the sharpest tool in the shed. I've just been in real estate for 32 years, and many people have been very generous and passed things along to me. Now take a look at your marketing message. The 3 most important things that matter to a human are me, myself, and I. Here's the third piece too. When you think about the marketing that we've been taught to give, see, we're so wonderful, we're so great, we sold $1 billion worth of real estate. Remember this, no one wants a hero. Everyone wakes up every day. See, human behavior. If you think you're in the transaction business, you'll stay transactional. When you come to understand it's a human experience, you're going to scale big time. You will scale big time. And what I want to share with you right here is I'm going to share, this isn't the I'm wonderful. I want to give you the proof up front, because about 5 minutes into this, you're going to go, here's the kumbaya guy. Well, can't argue with results. This was the message that I got a screenshot from the last time that I did this webinar. A broker owner sent me a screenshot from their agent from a simple messaging I'm going to give to you. But wait. And you can ask him, his name's Brandon Brittingham. It's easy for someone to put things up there. That's from one of my teams. See, you've got to get your message right. Write this down. message to market match. Message to market match. And this just happened this morning. See, we talk so much about relationships, but are we truly connecting with people at a psychological and emotional level? And I'm going to unpack this, but I wanted you to see the results to it. Here's the thing I want to share with you right now. And there's two parts to look at in being productive. Knowledge, experience, and education gives us competence. But there's a missing link. See, we keep looking, I'm not successful because I need more knowledge. I need a new script. I need to do this. I need to do that. But see, here's the ultimate missing link that I've learned in being very fortunate to ride along with. I don't make people elite. They were elite. I'm fortunate. They trust me. And I'm outside the jar. They're inside the jar. I get to kind of look at the ingredients. Okay. But here's what I know. It is confidence that gets in the way. It's never competence. And confidence comes from emotions. Here's what I know where the exponential growth happens. It doesn't come from the latest book on scaling. It doesn't come from the latest model of rocket fuel. That's the science. That's the competence. The number one thing I can tell you of high performers that they have is emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. Because here's what you're doing. You're managing and creating an experience. See, real estate agents are in the transformation business. You're moving someone from a space they're in. They want to escape from where they're at, the circumstance they're in, and arrive somewhere else. See, and this probably is all making sense because last time I checked, buying is an emotional decision. But I want to take you through, so that's why I want to take you to the stuff, the mindset and heart set stuff. You know, some of you are on this and I understand, no judgment. I don't care what you did before 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I care what you do at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It doesn't matter. There's no judgment. You may be in panic. There's a principle you've always got to keep, urgency. Urgency every single day. If you weren't consistent prior to this, you got to be consistent. Double down, I don't know, and I don't go to, I'm an optimist, but an optimist is always realistic. Maybe I'm misleading here. Right now, you probably need to triple down. The result you got 30 days ago is going to require 2, 3, 4 times the amount of energy and effort, period. It's just the reality of it. And I know I was an executive, not a theorist. I come from results-based, not from gathering information. I was in the Bay Area in the dot-com bubble. You can do the math there, okay? 99 to 2002. We've been through these times, right? So I'd say triple down, quadruple down. Here's what I want to share with you going forward. Sure, there's concern. What's the market going to do? You know, I can argue one point of everything's going to be amazing. I can argue the other side, it's going to be horrible. But here's the one thing that I know I can argue is this. No matter what circumstances I've been through, 9/11, 08, 09, dot-com bubble, okay? No matter the circumstances, people still have needs. And people make decisions based on their needs. And here's the final piece. Faster acceptance of the reality of the situation right now, the faster you can take the right action, the less pain you're going to experience. And again, I'm going to go through these quickly because I just have a 30-minute window personally. A, Rob will have the recording of this webinar. And B, Rob will also have the PowerPoint, okay? See, and here's the pieces to look at. You know, what I also know about people that really grow their business is A, emotional maturity, emotional intelligence, period. The other thing that I understand that they do really well too is self-leadership. Doesn't matter if you have great leaders, if you can't get into self-leadership. And self-leadership is that ability to self-reflect and take responsibility. See, these are the options of where you're at right now. You can be passive, do nothing, and wait for the news. You can be a spectator, watch the news, social media spin and be paralyzed, and enjoy the drama with everyone else. And by no means, by the way, I come with empathy. I have a family member who is of the highest risk in this current condition. My boxes for the home I was moving into, they're sitting right next to me. So I'm walking alongside this with you, but I have a responsibility as a leader to give you the truth and support you. Contract. It's very responsible to contract. If the business slows down, sure, take a look at your expenses. But I'm talking about don't contract, isolate, hole up, and do nothing. You can be a victim or you can be the cheerleader, the most dangerous person, because they're dangerous in the fact that they're delusional. kitchen's on fire and they let the house burn down around them. Everything's wonderful. Here's what I know. You've got to be committed. Persistent, responsible, now action. What I can tell you right now, walking alongside a group of high performing broker owner managers, CEOs, top teams, etc. It's the one that take the fast, responsible, now action. I'm gonna leave you with this. You got choices. You can do nothing, you can do it alone, or you can do it with others. Here's what I know, and you take a look at again, people that thrive through challenging times and have a sustainable business, is they always do it with others. They get their ego out of the way. You know, we always hear that I'm self-made. Oh, really? You didn't read a book, read a seminar, no one gave you any input? Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Self-made. No, you're not. Save yourself the trouble. Do it with others. Number 2, information. You know, there's some new behaviors, new tactics and approaches that you're probably using right now and that will come through these times. See, what's happening is you don't want to just bridge the gap from where we're at to get on the other side of it. Recognize these things are going to carry through. Because, by the way, the word Zoom 45 days ago meant, woo, go fast to the consumer. What do you think the definition of Zoom is right now to the consumer? What do you think the consumer's expectation is of your use of video has done in the last 45 days? What do you think the consumer's expectation and competency around tech has done in the last 45 days? So you've got to accommodate the expectation of today's consumer or get passed up. And I don't lead from fear. I lead from a space of the truth. In March, there were 200 million Zoom meetings. In April, there were 300 million. It's no mystery. Things are changing, and so will the expectations of the consumer. Here's the final piece I want to leave you with on this. There's 2 economies right now. You know what? We can talk about the stock market. We can talk about the interest rates. We can talk about all the different circumstances around us. But let me ask you a question. How much of it do you control? 0. Here's what I was taught a long time ago. There's one economy. It's the action economy. And the people that take action are going to win. So here's what I want to leave you with. Get real. Full acceptance of the current situation. You know, the number 1 place to go is not rah-rah. See, we've got all these things that we worry about. Go right to the worst case scenario and just come to a place of acceptance. Okay, that's the worst case. Boundaries. You know, I write this kind of, and I've said this a few times when I've shared this presentation, I say, get rid of people. And I say it from my work is to serve and support human beings. But I want to make a point to you. See, many times we're held back in life personally and professionally because we don't have the right people around us. Now, I believe in supporting people, but you're not helping people that are around you that are not willing to take some actions. I don't care where someone is at personally, because I've been in challenging places personally. But I took action. Don't let people, places, and things hold you back. Ladies and gentlemen, nothing gets in the way of the mission. Focus on everything you have, not what you don't have. People say, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? It hasn't happened yet. It's like people have expected it will happen, and you don't even know. You can dictate what's going to happen based on your actions. Get a plan of action, take action, and be held accountable. This is probably going to flip your script. And this is probably the single most important thing I want you to hold on to. See, you're in the human experience business. You're not in the real estate business, period. The greatest sales book ever written that was not a sales book was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And there's a principle I want you to hold. See, so much of the marketing, so much of the dialogue, so much of our messaging is understand me. We're great and I can do great things. Well, a basic human principle is seek first to understand, then be understood. Keep that overarching in your business. Nurture. You know, our industry, and believe me, I get to work with gentlemen like Rob and Phil and their team and many people that are the best lead generators that have 50, 100, 200,000 leads in their database. And I understand the importance of cadence. I understand the importance of frequency. Okay. But you know what? Our industry's created a condition where nurture feels like ambush. And it's not the frequency, it's the messaging. I want you to go back to, and right now just pause for it and think about, what if my nurture looked like care for, encourage, support? What if it looked like care for, encourage, support? Number 2, empathy. Most overused term, most underutilized. So I want to give it to you in basic terms. First, I'm going to seek first to understand. My nurture is going to look like caring for, encouraging, and supporting. Number 3, empathy, co-experiencing people's feelings. See, the consumer feels like we talk at them. What if we walked alongside them and talked with them, be relatable, okay? And I'm going to share with you, you saw those text messages? There were phone calls that were done too, so you guys can hear the recording. You want to know that text message that worked so well? You want to know that phone call that worked really, really well, that turned into lots of business for people? The one that came in this morning, that final one that I shared with you? I want you to see this really quickly. Again, thank you. It was powerful. We've been making those relationship calls and businesses just been magically showing up. It's no accident this showed up at 3:32 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, it's all supported. See, these are human principles. People want to be treated like a human, not like a buyer or a seller. And you know what? Here's how it goes. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, it's John Cheplak with ABC Real Estate. I'm reaching out purely on a personal level. I just wanted to check in and see how you and your family are doing. We're great, wonderful, awesome. If there's anything we can do to support you personally, please let us know. You know, it's interesting, you know, 60 days ago, agents were all pissed off because no one answers the phone. People don't want to talk to me, they're rude. Now agents are pissed off because they can't get people off the phone and everyone's answering the phone. Huh, what a great problem. Now, but don't I flip and don't I rotate? Do you want to know what's happening in the market? No, you're a real estate agent. 90%, see, what if you called people from a genuine, nurturing, caring, and supporting perspective? They know you're a real estate agent. And I'm not saying be milquetoast. If you haven't figured out, I'm a pretty intense guy. I'm not saying you just roll over. But what I understand is human behavior. This has been the winter. The winter. It's not the winter. It's almost 100 in Vegas. You got to meet people where they're at. Don't try and take them where you want them to go. Remember, people have sales skepticism. See, that's the number one objection that no one's really overcoming. Do you think you can sell someone an objection handle them with the outdated, cheesy, antiquated, uncomfortable sales dialogues that keep getting recycled? Do you think you can sell or objection handle someone out of sales skepticism? Knock yourself out. I'm going to make a suggestion for you. Number 1, remember this. The most critical objection is sales skepticism. The number 1 way to remove that is to lower their guard. Let me say it again, lower their guard. How do I lower their guard? I educate and inform. I educate and inform. Now there's a second piece that came forward about 45 days ago. It's called uncertainty. Yeah, I know, John, that's basic. Great. How is the selling people out of uncertainty and objection handling people out of uncertainty working out for you? That's the reason we're getting 1,500 text responses, because we know we need to meet people where they're at and enter the conversation going on in their head. And when you do that, guess what happens? People go through the process of self-discovery. Remember this, there's 2 ways people make choices. They make a choice based on the external decisioning process. Someone has oversold them into it. You know what happens with that? Buyer's remorse, seller's remorse. They ask someone else for their opinion. There's a second way that people make choices, the internal decisioning process, self-discovery. See, the most brilliant person in the room doesn't tell people things. They ask the most thought-provoking questions that allow someone to self-discover. And when someone makes the internal decision themselves, they will defend it and they'll tell other people about it and you. Simple human principle. And you know what we arrive? We arrive in the most important thing we can do with people, reassurance. And it seems to be working real well for people. I'm going to go past this quickly because in the interest of, I've got about 7 minutes here of time, but I'll leave these with you real quickly. There's my studies after 32 years in the business. I started studying outside our industry. I wanted to study companies that spent $1 billion in marketing because it's all human behavior. This is a great book to read. It's not a real estate book. Breakthrough Advertising by Gene Schwartz. See, the reason that people get annoyed by salespeople is we don't get the message right. When someone's unaware, they don't have a need, and we run our sales rap at them, we take the indifferent and move them into annoyed. Let me demonstrate it to you. This is the 95-5 marketing principle. See, what happens is this, it's the red ocean, the blue ocean, okay? If there's 100,000 population in a city, At any given time, only 5% or 5,000 of those people would a real estate conversation be relevant. The rest are indifferent. But you know what we do? We do that cheesy, hey, are you, your friends, or anyone you know thinking of buying or selling? We move the indifferent to annoyed. But the sophisticated agents, the top agents, you know, you see those agents that are connecting with local businesses and using their marketing to support the local frontline people. See, that's marketing. See, that's going, see, where's the greatest opportunity? In the 5% that might say yes or no right now, if you're building a business, or is it in the 95%? See, the 5% are in the consideration phase. The 95%, the bigger population, are indifferent. Meet people where they're at. That's the reason you need to have a larger ratio of educational and informational marketing that will actually convert better than all your calls to action. I promise you. I want to give you some tools real quickly. And again, I have this problem. It's my fault, and you can be mad at me for it. But you know, when I get an opportunity to spend time with people, I'm going to take an hour and put it in 30. If I get 8 hours, I'm going to take 16 and put it in 8. But I'm going to give you some tools. Remember this: every choice we make is based on the words we hear and the words we read. Every choice. You need to treat every word that you write on a Facebook post like you're writing the front page of the New York Times. Because twice as many people log onto Facebook every single night at 8 p.m. as watch a Super Bowl ad. That's eyeballs, and last time I checked, we want eyeballs. Well, this program, answerthepublic.com, everything you write, you can put in. See, I don't want to think of a new cheesy script or dialogue. You know what I want to do? I want to find out what people type into the internet or say into the internet and search for. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to write a headline, a blog post, or a video based on what people search. When you go to Answer the Public, you can type in anything: buy a home, sell a home, looking for homes, what's home value. Answer the Public's going to spit out to you everything that people type in. See, this is brilliance. Echoing the words back to the consumer that they use instead of thinking of words that we think sound better. That's getting into the unconscious mind. And remember, the unconscious brain takes action. Another tool with your copy. Again, stay with me. Every choice we make is based on the words we hear and read. This is the Hemingway app. Agura Financial is the #1 online financial services company in the world. They send tons of emails. You can imagine that the demographic of their audience is very sophisticated. Guess what grade level they write all their emails at? 2nd or 3rd grade level. 2nd or 3rd grade level. Well, here's a tool for you. Most likely, and I know when I start working with people, the #1 thing that I find, they talk over their audience. See, email doesn't suck, your message does. Email doesn't suck, you have no curiosity and urgency in your subject line. Email doesn't suck and not get delivered, you're sending heavy files, and what you don't realize is that the ESPs, the email service providers, block delivery based on the weight of the file. So keep that in mind. See, you want to get an email delivered, opened, read, and clicked. Most people aren't even getting it delivered. And here's what I know. Email has the ROI. You'll get these words too. Curiosity needs to be there. Look at your words. So you'll get this, this little piece. You need to look at eliminating these words. See, this is straight from the email service providers. They block emails based on words that are written in subject lines and in emails. They know what spam is. And here's the kicker. Don't go death by emoji, please. Agura Financial sends 70% of their emails with an emoji in the subject line. 70% of their emails have an emoji in the subject line. When you get off this Zoom, what I want you to do is I want you to look in your cell phone, okay? And see if there's an emoji in the subject line of anyone's emails, okay? The one that would have an emoji is going to stand out. I want to get my email opened and read. If I have the combination of something that I'm using language that creates curiosity, okay? And I am also using an attention grabber like an emoji, I want people to consume my content. And there's the proof, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to look real closely. People call spam, they think it's frequency, another myth you've been taught. Because if you look on the far left column, we've emailed to this database 9 times in 28 days. And if you look further here, that's 6,600 people, 40% email open rates. Spam is not frequency. Spam is your messaging. And email has the highest ROI. It's free. I want to move on to video. And you know, again, this is going to be real rapid fire in the interest of time. You know, I share things. I don't want to be a theorist because I'm not a theorist. I was an operator. So I show you this, not that I'm wonderful, that I got 2 million views on a video. I share this with you because I walk the talk. And I did this 2-3 years ago. You've got to do video. I mean, you just do. Am I saying you're going to fail if you don't do video? No, I'm not saying that. Am I saying you won't sell real estate? No, I'm not saying that. But I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be a lot tougher if you don't. Now, what I want you to pay really close attention to, notice my production company I'm using. It's my right hand. My thumb pushes the selfie mode, and then my pointer finger pushes the red button. Stop getting ready to get ready. My crappy video will outperform your absent one. My crappy video will outperform your absent one. There's something else I want you to take note of too. This is long copy. You need to write long copy. You also need to look at the white spacing. Typically keep it to 3 to 4 lines or less. You'll see sometimes I will go over. You want to keep it at that so people read downhill. They read downhill. Why would we do long copy? We do long copy because 80% of all videos are watched with the sound off. The other piece that I want you to get to, we've got some OG marketers here who'd say, well, John, it's not above the fold. Well, that's not the social rules of engagement. That's different than the website. See, Facebook is an interrupter platform. See more opens a loop of curiosity and actually contributes to people wanting to stop the scroll. And obviously you can see with those results. Here's where I'll end with, is the person that's doing video, they can have a crappy message. They'll beat you if you're not, because how much body language is in your voice, in your cell phone, email, texts? That would be 0. 0. 55% of the impact of communication is body language. That's why the crappy message will always, the crappy video will always outperform the absent one. This is science. Share one other thing, and here's the other thing I want you to really look at. Here's what's scary if you haven't been using video. This came out 2 years ago. The Nielsen Rating Company, who decides, I've been sharing this one for 2 years. Nielsen Rating Company looks at the eyeballs on TV and says a Super Bowl ad's worth 5 million or 10 million. They were so fascinated by video on social media, they studied it. Ladies and gentlemen, you're living in a 3-second video world. Last time I checked, you want people to purchase things. In the first 3 seconds someone consumes your video, you impact their purchase intent by 44%. And look what happens when they consume 10 seconds. And guess what? I walk the talk because you got here. How many videos have you watched? You watched a confirmation video. You watched a night before video you got an email, and you watched a video this morning because I wanted you to show up. I wanted to impact you so that you'd be here. See, walking the talk. And using video and email works out pretty well too, ladies and gentlemen. Here's a great book for you, Contagious. Grab it, it's simple. You want to be contagious. You want a contagious message. And come hang out. If you follow any of these, you'll see that I strive, I'm not perfect, but I strive to operate these principles in my social media, and hopefully there's some good examples there that you can capture. So I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna escape. Let's see here, where am I at? I'm trying to get all this stuff coordinated, and I'm gonna make Rob the host. Let's see here, because I'm gonna zoom away, change host. I think you're the, I wanna make sure that I've got Phil. Excuse me,
No,
Rob.
Conrad's on.
Yeah, we're good.
I mean,
We're good.
yeah.
We're good. John, thank you so much. Great info.
Awesome, John.
Great info. Love it. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot. Good to see you guys.
Good to
Good to
see
see
you.
you too, Johnny. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy. That was great information, eh? Just to even put an emoji in the subject line, and a bad video is better than no video. I thought that was great information, eh? Like, just fantastic. So everybody,
No, John's fantastic. He's a great guy.
Great guy. This guy knows a lot of information. He's got a wealth of knowledge. So everybody, I just want to introduce you to Conrad Zurini. He's broker owner of ReMax Escarpment and also ReMax Niagara. The guy is a great trainer. I always go to him for advice. This guy knows stats better than anybody else does. I always call him for any situation that's happening, as whether it's positive or negative. Conrad, I'm glad that you're on board here, buddy. Tell us what's going on. You've got all the numbers and stats between the Hamilton, Niagara, and Halton area.
Yeah, sure. No, thanks, Rob. Thanks for doing this. Amazing, huge numbers on this call. To tribute to you and your organization, Rob. That's fantastic. So I thought I'd break down some of the numbers and what's happening out there, and I know and see what some of there's some opportunities and there's some not so great opportunities. But I thought I'm gonna travel like from this picture behind me, because some of you might be wondering what that is. That's the pier of Burlington. So I thought I'd start at Burlington and move my way through, do Hamilton proper, and then do the outskirts of Hamilton, and then hit Niagara. So I thought I'd start with a couple of like really interesting things that I've noticed. So let's talk about Burlington for a minute. I'm not sure if anybody realized, but Burlington had a peak in terms of average benchmark price. I'm going to be talking benchmark price. I'm using the Korea HBI for this, so it's benchmark. So they take out the real high highs and take out the real low lows. So it's a more accurate account of the market. So the benchmark price probably hit the highest in Burlington back, believe it or not, in 2017. A lot of you here on this call here, what have you, this webinar, would know that 2017 was pretty dynamic. But now we're starting to see a little bit of a decline. We're seeing prices kind of going back towards the peak of 2017, believe it or not. So single family right now, there's a downward trend on single family and two-story in Burlington. And it's actually, the prices are starting to meet the 2017 peak. Every other area has been a gradual upwards, but Burlington had a peak in 2017, went down, and then started dipping up. The other thing that's kind of interesting is apartment style in Burlington. The benchmark price actually surpassed the benchmark price for townhouses. So we're seeing a very vibrant condo and apartment style market, which is kind of interesting. One stories are kind of leveling off. So where is the opportunity if you're talking to buyers right now? Single family two-story is probably the best opportunity for people in that market right now, and want to enter that market in Burlington would be awesome. And if you're selling, it would definitely be townhouses and condo apartments. As a matter of fact, condo apartments in the last month, and I did just April, increased by 3.2% just in April, and 1.9% for townhouses in Burlington. Now, another number I like to look at is months of inventory. So I looked at April months of inventory. So right now in Burlington, months of inventory are approximately 3 months of inventory in Burlington. Now, we haven't seen 3 months in a long, long time. It's a lot. The last time we saw 3 months of inventory in Burlington was October 2017, which was just after that big, that drop off in October, in the fall of 2017. And December 2018, there was approximately about 3 months of supply as well. So we're comparing ourselves to that. Now, days on market, this is where the great story is about days on market. We haven't seen days on market this low. Now, mind you, January, February, and March, days on market were significantly lower than they are today. Not significant, but marginally lower. But in the last 10 years, the last time we've seen days on market, which are now around 21 days in Burlington, we have to talk about January, February 2017. So that's a real bright light in terms of days on market. So that's really, really, really cool. Now, the other number I like to look at is sales to new listings. And again, just to recap this. So if it's 40%, if the sales are 40% to new listings, that means it's a buyer's market. If 40 to 60% are selling, that means it's a balanced market. And if it's 60% of the new listing, of the the sales compared to new listings. If it's at 60%, then it's a seller's market. So just bear that in mind. 40% buyer, 40 to 60 balance, and 60% and plus it's a seller. Now, in Burlington, March it was 68%, and in April it was 59%. So we're still leaning towards a seller's market. And again, of all the regions, you're going to see as we go along that that's the only region where we still see us in seller's market territory, which is kind of interesting. And again, that is again the lower priced inventory selling, which would be your townhouses and condos. So that whole thing about people not buying condominiums, really, I think it's a falsehood. We're not really seeing that indication quite yet. So let's go right to Hamilton now, just Hamilton proper. I will say like the Hamilton composite number. Now I just did Hamilton, just Hamilton Mountain, Hamilton Center, all that kind of stuff, and Hamilton East. The composite, which is all product, 2-story, single family, 2-story, one story, and apartment style and townhouse. It is edging downwards. We're starting to see it edge downwards. It's still much higher than the peak of 2017, but we're starting to see even 1-story leveling off. I think Hamilton 1-story's kind of got to a certain price. We're starting to see that level off. 2-story in Hamilton is a sharper decline, without a doubt. Townhouses, again, it's slightly leveling off, but apartment is going upwards. So again, where's the opportunity? If I was on the buy side, definitely 2-story. There's a downward trend in 2-story, but 1-story is kind of leveling off. So if anybody wants to get into those 1-stories right now, it's a great time to buy. And if you were selling apartment condos, because they're seeing sharp increases. As a matter of fact, in the month of April alone, apartment style condos in Hamilton went up 2%. And that was, they led everything, nothing else. None of the other categories even registered, maybe 0.2% for townhouses. So again, it's been a pretty flat market for everything else, but apartments are really high. Now, let's talk about the sales number to new listings. Now, again, remember that 40 to 60 and 60 and above. Hamilton is 66 and 65% for March and for April consecutively. That's again, very much a seller's market in Hamilton. So that's good news for the people of Hamilton in terms of Hamilton proper. Now, let's look at Hamilton proper in terms of absorption rate, months of supply, and days on market. Again, we've not seen, we're at 21 days on market. We haven't seen these numbers since, well, it's better than the whole year of 2019. We haven't seen 21 days on the market in Hamilton proper. As a matter of fact, we haven't seen like this kind of days on market, Q1 of 2016 and Q1 of 2017, where we saw lower days on market. So that's really something to look at. And months of supply, we're not that much higher. We're at 2 months of supply, which is still a very solid market in terms of Hamilton proper. Again, it's not, for the past year, it's been less than 2 months, but again, 2 months is a really good amount of supply. Now, when it comes to the actual, the outskirts now, let's look at the outskirts for a minute. Okay, so in terms of days on market, we're at about approximately just, no, not days on market. I'm talking about months of supply, so months of inventory. So months of inventory right now, we're at probably about 2.5 months of inventory in the outskirts, maybe closer to three months. Now, in 2019, January, we saw 3.7 months of supply, which tells me something about, that wasn't a bad time at all. If you guys remember back in 2017, January 2011, we saw 5.9 months, almost 6 months of supply in the outskirts. So we're significantly lower than that in the outskirts. And what I'm talking about is Ancaster, Binbrook, Glanbrook, Stony Creek, Dundas. So that's kind of cool. Now, days on market, 19 days on market and 22 days on market were October 2016 and June 2017. So our days on market currently, we're at 30 days on market, which is really respectable in terms of that for the outskirts. And usually the outskirts, it's much higher. So, and now let's jump quickly to Niagara. So Niagara's got a very interesting, again, very steady growth. Niagara really leads the area for steady growth. They had their 2017 peak, but it wasn't as high of a peak as we did in Burlington or Hamilton. So good, solid, steady growth, like blue chip. I would say Niagara's the blue chip of real estate in terms of growth. Now, what's happening? Leveling off. Single story is probably leveling off. 2-story, we've got some strong growth. in the two-story market. So it looks like people are moving, out of the GTA and looking for a two-story, a larger home and things like that. So two-story, there's strong growth in townhouses as well. Really strong growth. And there was a peak, I don't know if people realize, but there was a peak back in December, and we're actually past that peak of December 2019, where we had a lot of growth in townhouses. But apartment style is leveling off. So where's the opportunity? Buying apartment style. And I know there's not a lot in Niagara, but buying apartment style in Niagara, where it's kind of the prices are leveling off. But people are really, when they're going to Niagara, they're looking to buy a single family and that type of thing. And if I was selling anything right now in Niagara, it would definitely be a townhouse. Townhouses are we're starting to see that kind of peaking and leveling off a little bit. But buying apartment condos and one-stories, if I was buying, definitely I'd be suggesting buying one-stories. As a matter of fact, townhouses going back to the south side of townhouses in Niagara over the month of April were up 3.4%, and two-story was up 1.9%. So again, two strong products right there. And I'll quickly go to days on market and months of inventory. We're seeing months of inventory in Niagara. In terms of that, we're between 2.5 and 3 months of inventory. Most of the time, it's 5 months of inventory, so we're still below those numbers. We've not seen anything like I would say below 30 days in terms of days on market. The last time we saw that was Q1 of 2017. So again, we're seeing really good, strong numbers in terms of that. Months of inventory, we haven't seen the numbers that we're seeing now are below what we're seeing in terms of months of inventory, Q1 of 2016 and 2017. So those are really, really vibrant markets to compare to. So again, we're in good territory there. I think the big story here is probably, is it balanced or not balanced? March was 59% and April was 45%. So now we're kind of moving out of balanced a little bit, and we're kind of moving towards towards more of a buyer's market. So Niagara again is still it's a great market for buyers. We're seeing a lot of activity going on, and as a matter of fact, when I looked at the numbers of the most productive agents throughout the whole region, actually the Niagara agents did 40% more homes per capita than the Hamilton Burlington agents did. So again, very vibrant market. It's nice to see what's happening in Niagara as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Conrad. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Now you've got some numbers that's happened in the first week of May that are pretty. You got any of those with you, Conrad? Like we saw some more activity in May. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, you're absolutely
with the
right.
Appointment center and everything else.
Yeah, I just looked at the numbers. We did, Monday, we did 30 sales. Tuesday, there was another about 15. I think we're looking at about 27 so Monday was 30, Tuesday, 27, Tuesday was about 15 or so. And I think today we're in the 20s. So again, it's moving up. So the needle's moving. It's been a dramatic change. Even in appointments, we're up 24% in appointments over last week, which is pretty tremendous. Total properties sold last week were 148. So we're kind of moving that needle and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I think people are getting tired about this quarantine, and now they're just saying, screw it. I'm going to put my house up for sale, or I'm buying one. They're just going ahead. They're feeling comfortable in doing that, and I noticed that the phones are ringing a little bit more this past week than it was in April for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's get into some of the action stuff. Conrad, you have an opportunity, a chance to speak to a number of realtors. I know I use you as a source of information weekly, daily, all the time. But in terms of that, where do you see, who do you see what's working? Where's the opportunity as we kind of transition and pivot out of this market for realtors in terms of generating new business, maintaining old business, and reaching out to past clients?
Well, I think it's really important. One of the things that we all kind of fall back on, and I love what John had to say. I love that he's all about content and thinking about the other 95%. I think that's critical, and it's always been critical. But I think what we all have to do is we have to kind of resist. And again, I think this is a time that you can really look and focus on your business and understand what is like Rob Golfi Inc., what's Phil Golfi Inc. all about, what's Conrad Zurini Inc. all about. I think that's the most important thing right now. I think looking at what other people are doing is falling down that rabbit hole of seeing what my competition is doing and trying to mimic that is really not the right thing. And I think even what John talked about was his tailored messages to the different people in his sphere or what have you in his email delivery piece. Again, people want to know you're really constantly thinking of them. There's two things that they're really thinking about. Are you always thinking of me, and are you an expert in the industry? And I think John was very clear about that. And I think building that content is very, very important. So eliminate what you're seeing, all the noise, what everybody else is doing, how much social media everybody's doing or whatever. We're all not good at that. And I think you have to understand, ask yourself, what am I really solid at? What am I really, really good at? What's Conrad really, really good at in terms of making his agents, feel differently, training, all that kind of stuff, and focus on those. And I think you have to be totally obsessed with supporting your clients. I think you got to be focused on their success and helping them along during this time again, but even into the future. And I think we have to be obsessed with the service that we're providing and helping and supporting them. Sometimes it's supporting them personally, but it's also supporting them through the transaction and things like that. Because I'll say one thing, strong relationships are very tough to break. And you guys know it. You guys are relationship builders, and you have relationships with thousands of clients, and they keep coming back to you. And that's a critical piece of your strategy. And the fact that you are focused on their success and focused on what they're doing, okay, and helping them, again, private life and even into their real estate life, it pays off. And those bonds are very difficult to break. So I think don't get down that rabbit hole of doing what everybody else is doing. Do an assessment, find out what you're really great at doing and growing your tribe. And again, once you grow that tribe, again, you have to be there to support them.
Good.
Fantastic.
I guess I'll get into this. What in terms of managing your team, obviously in speaking for us, we're in a growth stage. We're looking to grow our team. That's, one of the reasons why we hired John. That's one of the reasons why we developed that relationship. We want to grow our team. Get into, Conrad, you have a team, whether it's a support system or your realtors, and Dad, you have a team. I'm on it. But, what are you guys doing in terms of managing your team and people coming to you? Obviously there's a lack of business or not enough business in comparison to last year. People are getting down and comparing their numbers to what they wanted to do or where they wanted to be this year. How are you addressing those conversations?
Do you want me to go first, Rob? Or
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Okay, it's interesting what John said too, because we're all at different stages in this, and I think what our job, what my job was, and a lot of our leadership team was to find out where people, like there was 4 phases that we all went through. We have to find out what phase everybody's in, and the consumer's in the same boat. The first phase that we went through was this whole denial phase, and this can't be happening, and we all kind of. And again, and agents went through this, and they probably went through it. Maybe some could still be in that. It's uncertain, but you have to decide. You have to find out what phase they're in and help them get to the next phase, because you have to go through the phases. And the next phase was taking stock. What we did was as a company, we took stock of all the tools and the resources we had, and we said, how can these tools and resources be utilized during this new environment that we're in? I think it was all about taking stock and understanding what we were good at, where our strengths were, where some of our weaknesses were, and to backfill and help our agents with the tools and things that we created. And then the next one, we went through the mourning stage. We actually mourned the industry, because all those things that we did about the industry and shaking hands and seeing people and that whole thing, we started to mourn that. The open houses, we were one of the first companies to come out and stop doing in-person open houses. So we mourned all that, and the fact that this industry was changing, and am I ready for this? Okay. And then once you kind of get through that mourning process, and we all did, and we saw that dip beginning of April, we saw a dip. I think consumers were mourning, even dealing with real estate, and agents were mourning the whole industry. And then you have to understand, you have to go into that 4th phase, which is the new normal, and the best practices going forward, and understand that consumers are now going to look for, and John said it too, they're going to look more at video. They're going to look more at the virtual showings. And Rob, you've done some amazing work with the virtual showings, and we've seen some of your listings getting 2,000-3,000 viewings. So again, this is what consumers are now. They're going into this, and they're staying on websites longer. They're watching these virtual showings. So this kind of thing is going to translate into what we do things in the future. And I would imagine open houses, you're going to have the in-person open house, but you're still going to have that Facebook Live type open house. And I think that's going to be something that's going to bring about a larger audience of people. And I think consumers are going to do their homework that much more so in terms of when they're looking at homes, and they're going to need all this data, all this information, all this great video. So again, finding out what phase everybody's in and then helping them along, because everybody's at a different stage right now. And I think that's what we did as a company, to establish those phases, find out what phase they're in, and then help them along to get to the next phase.
Yeah, we are a different company now than we were 6 weeks ago, Conrad. We've implemented and did a reset. And, you know, when the initial shock came in, when we had to quarantine, everybody had to shut down. That was a scary time. And I think there was an eerie feeling in everybody seeing what was happening in the world, or even in Canada. But in the last 6 weeks, we've implemented a lot of different new things. Every one of our listings has 3D Matterport. I think that's important. There's a lot of, and I wanted to share with everybody out there, you don't even have to use Matterport. There's other companies out there that are cheaper also, that you can have 3D dimensional for your listings. But I think that's important, and that's what I wanted to share with everybody else, the colleagues out there. And I think that's important out there. And a lot of people, I know it's expensive, but there's ways of doing it cheaper. And just like John said, he goes, a bad video is better than no video. And I'll tell you, I struggle with videos. Like, it's been like waking up in the morning, that, you know, thinking, okay, I need to do a video. What am I going to do? And how am I going to do it? Like, it's just, that seems to be more, but I'm getting better and better at it. And I think now is the time to actually just get in the habit of doing these things, because I'll tell you, once we come out of this is my business is totally different. And we have to adjust to what the times were. And so, and I think everybody else has to do the same thing. And
Yeah. Okay, good. So I've seen a lot of people here talking on the side in the chat saying, you know, where can I get this video? Where can I get this recording? You can go to www.wininanymarket.com. It'll take you to the Facebook page. We've created a platform where we want to start connecting with other realtors from other brokerages. Doesn't matter, you know, which flag you wave. We want to share some of our trade secrets, create better relationships, you know, from our team to other teams, to other brokerages, to other realtors. So we're going to be posting information in there every single week. We're going to be doing interviews, updates, and you know, sharing some of our trade secrets. You know, a lot of people reach out to us all the time and ask us how we do certain things, and you know, what things that, you know, our best lead generation, or where do our leads come from, or you know, how do we do, you know, what we do. So that's one of our platforms that we want to use to just build a better relationship with the, you know, with the real estate community. So this recording will be in Win in Any Market on our Facebook page. We're going to post it as soon as we get the opportunity to, as soon as we're done. We're going to, I guess we have the opportunity to go over, we can answer a couple more questions and go through a couple more things. I want to go to my dad. You know, I know we met with John in Nashville. We have his, you know, the ability to reach out to his coaching. You know, what were 2 or 3 things that you did immediately when COVID hit, when we get into quarantine, that you did with your business that you could share with, you know, the entire community right now? What was, you know, 1 or 2 things that you adapted to quickly, how you changed your business? Yeah,
the one thing, the videos is the one thing right away. Creating a couple of different other platforms, different lead generating platforms. We got rid of some and we added some. The one thing that we didn't know is Facebook Workplace. I think fantastic. It's a great platform to communicate with a team or even an office and share ideas. You know, we created our own podcast booth. Right now I'm sitting right here in a podcast booth that we put in our office. and that I'm sitting in, so that we can do our radio shows and everything else. We probably will never go back to the radio shows and to their radio
Studio.
show place. We'll do it from our office now. Like, we've got all the equipment to do it. We've got, like, we're just basically, like I said, we're better equipped. This COVID is a couple of steps backwards, but coming out of it, we're going to be 10 steps forward. So look at the positive. I know all our goals have been kind of crashed and crushed a bit, but we just got to reset and go forward. And I'll tell you, just stay positive. Like, people are out there still buying and selling. Just don't be down. Just go out there and say, hey, listen, the market's still decent. It's, it hasn't killed, the stock market's taken a little bit of a beating depending on what you're buying, but the real estate market, I'll tell you guys, we all working it together. Let's we gotta, it's going to be good for us.
Conrad, what's going to make somebody successful coming out of it, whether it's mindset, whether it's, action, whether, what's going to make a successful realtor once we come out of this place?
Well, I think looking at, well, pivoting, and, a lot of people use that word pivot, but I think it's a matter of doing that much more for, when we're listing a property. I think you have to be that much more mindful of content and data and like those numbers that I had, the HPI and all that kind of stuff. And when we're doing this, it's not a matter of, like I always say, most of us just throw us against the wall and they say, is this the best time to sell? And if I'm low on listings, yeah, it's a great time to sell. But really looking at data a little differently and looking at opportunities, like I said, I think the HPI is a great product. I think get your head around these stats and look at some of these trends. I think that's brilliant. The other piece is doing exactly what you guys are doing in terms of increasing that content level. I think consumers are going to be demanding that much more content when it comes to looking at listings and things like that. And I love, again, out of necessity, I know some agents have done where they've asked the homeowner to kind of record something about why they bought the house or when they moved in and what they really love about the home and stuff like that. I think integrating that kind of thing in some of your marketing would be amazing. Being able to tell that story, a more enriched story about the home. Look, I always say this is 99% emotion, 1% business. And I think integrating some of those things that we had to do because of necessity, because we couldn't even get in the homes. I think integrating some of that in terms of your storytelling about the actual home itself is going to set you apart from everyone else. So I think going beyond what everybody else is doing, making that buying experience for consumers that much better. And I think what you have to do too is your online, you really have to look at your online and your online presence. And look, I was just on a podcast earlier today. I said, if you can't measure it, don't effing do it. And I think if you're not really looking at, years ago when we looked at our websites, we used to look at it annually. We look at it weekly, monthly. We do a quarterly meeting with all of our technicians as well, looking at where things are going and trends and stuff like that. So yeah, you gotta really look at your web presence and understand how people are searching today, what they're looking at, and I think you got to convert a lot of what we're doing. And I think this whole virtual CMA piece, I think that's going to revolutionize. And if people can organize their the way they do that, we could probably do that much more CMAs, more so than we do. We make an appointment, go there, and the whole 9 yards. This way here, you could do it in your office. They stay in their home, and we can get more people interested in knowing what's happening in the real estate market that much quicker.
Yeah, and I want to take somebody inside in terms of what my CMA looks like, and how I started. And I got this from John. I got it. I was at his seminar in Nashville. He stood up on stage and said, "You need to ask these 3 questions before you do a listing presentation, or you shouldn't be doing a listing presentation." And the first one is, "How can I help you?" Very basic. This is right before my listing presentation. It's, "How can I help you? What are you looking for in an agent? And what are you afraid of happening? What are you fearful of?" I start every single one of my listing presentations with each of those 3 questions. And depending on how, the prospective seller answers them, that's where my listing presentation changes. I'm hitting on every single one of those points. you're hitting the pressure points. You want to know what they need in terms of a realtor, in terms of selling their house, whether it's a negative experience in the past or what's important to them when their house is on the market. My closing ratios have gone through the roof by answering or asking each and every single one of those 3 questions. I would recommend to anybody who's walking in a listing presentation tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, ask those 3 questions before you get started, and you'll see immediate results when you ask those questions. So that's, in terms of taking a look into my presentation in terms of how I do them.
That's excellent.
Thank you. Go ahead.
No, that's great. We all our team members do that. That's a great tidbit that everybody should be doing for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Leonard asked a question here. Rob, did you purchase your own Matterport camera for your office? Yes, we do have our own Matterport camera. The ROI was immediate. I think Matterport's right now, the market value is $250 to $275 per shoot, plus a membership fee. We went on and got our own right away. We had it delivered within, I think it was like 3 to 5 business days. And we do our own in-house Matterport shoots. It's created a great client relationship. Once we're able to show this during our listing presentations, the reaction's immediate. Everyone loves it. And I mean, when we get the stats for the Matterport, we see that people are spending, like you said, Conrad, the average time somebody spent on a listing was like 12 seconds, 12 to 15 seconds. That number has drastically climbed overnight, where people are digging into room sizes. People are digging into, the more detailed descriptions, spending way more time on the listing. We've seen that with Matterport, where we have some, some viewers and engagement that's well over, 8,000 views in 5 to 10 minutes. So definitely a huge asset to our business, a huge asset to our company. The Matterport has been a massive selling feature for our team. Definitely. Conrad, is there anything that you wanted to talk about or transition to?
No, I just think, again, there's some great opportunity in the market right now. And I think it's inherent in us to articulate that. Look, we make the market, guys. I've seen it for years. I've been around for a long, long time. And when we have a brisk spring market, I can tell you it's going to be a dull summer, because people are taking that summer off. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see that fall gear up when people say, oh my God, and nothing's happening. I have nothing going on. And we really make the market. We beat the bushes. The market is like, I always, I've heard many people say it's between our ears. We make the market. Look what John was saying. Let's focus on that other 95%. And really articulate what's happening in the market and be genuine, what's going on in the market. And I think that what's going to happen is being genuine and giving some great information. Exactly what you're doing today, like what you're doing today to help our industry is priceless. And the industry is only going to get better from here. And I think what we as realtors should be doing is helping our consumers understand what's happening in the market as best we can and as clear we can. Stay in your lane, and then we're all about enjoyment and equity, and those are the 2 things that we're all about. And stay in your lane with those regards. Help and support consumers, and the business will come. It naturally does come, and I think that's what we're going to have to look forward to in the next little while, as people are searching. And check those keywords right now. People are searching what's happening in the market that much more. So be in front of it. Don't let the media take it. Yes. Be in front of it for your customers and your tribe. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
100%. I'll piggyback on top of that. Create a positive mindset, create a positive environment. Don't let the media dictate, what's going on. We've seen you come front and center and completely retract, statements made in the media by going to the media and saying this is wrong. So I would definitely say, piggyback on top of that. I think we're about to wrap this up, but I just wanted to highlight again, wininanymarket.com. This entire recording and this will be available on it, as well as a number of other different information. We plan on having, masterminds. I believe it's going to be, starting next week at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. We're going to be having agent masterminds. We want to, like I said, we want to create better relationships within our industry, create a better industry, and be part of building a better industry. something that is going to rub off on us, that's coming from the top down from you to us. So that's amazing. But I want to thank every single person who joined our webinar today. It's been a great response. This is one of our first times doing something like this. This is a new, this is going to become a new normal. We're going to look back on us doing this webinar, how nervous we were, the anxieties behind it. Are people going to show up? What's going to happen? We had all those feelings. We were, what happens if something, flunks out on us? We didn't know, right? We had no idea how this was gonna go today. So for everybody who hopped in and joined us, this has been absolutely amazing. And I want each and every person to know, feel free to reach out to us. We're here to help. Whether it's a simple question or something that you need help with or are struggling with, we're here to help. We want to build this page. We want to create better relationships within our industry. And with that being said, thank you, Conrad, for hopping on.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're
this
awesome.
is amazing.
Thanks, buddy.
You're the main pull. You're the main pull for us. You're the main pull for us. How we got all this.
I appreciate it.
So,
this is awesome. What you're doing. It's amazing. Kudos to you.
So,
honestly.
Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Have a
Take
good
care.
one. Bye now.